Technology is driving the agenda for the public transportation industry. Today we're in Denver for the annual American Public Transportation Association's Technology Conference, where we'll hear from CEO Paul Skoutelas and other leaders talk about how we are utilizing technology to better meet the needs of today's customers. We'll also hear from a panel of America's leading transit innovation experts talk about microtransit, and in rapid-fire succession, we'll hear from a number of leaders tell us what one top transportation innovation is that they're using today. All on this episode of Transit Unplugged TV. Paul Skoutelas, President and CEO of APTA. We're at your APTA Tech conference, an amazing conference here in Denver. Tell us about what's happening right now with technology in public transportation.
Well, we're a very exciting time in the industry. You know, we need to come back from the pandemic to lure riders back into our systems. Technology's at the root of that. How we plan our systems, how we schedule, how we dispatch, how we manage our workforce, and of course how we communicate with riders. So it is part and parcel of the importance of being able to operate and to bring riders back to the system. I think it's the most exciting time that we've been in. I'd love for us to have been at 100% of ridership capture and return. We're not there yet, we're making that climb back. But that's why we have an APTA Tech conference focusing just on technology, bringing the practitioners together to share ideas, to share their stories, so everybody can go back home and deploy these ideas in their own systems. So that's what the purpose of the technology conference is all about, and it's really been a great offering from APTA to the industry.
Bridgette Beato, you're the Vice Chair of WTS, Women in Transportation, and you're also the owner of your own company. Tell us about the role of small women-owned businesses in our public transit industry.
I think it's a very important role that we play because when you go with a smaller firm, especially a woman-owned business, we have the ability to be flexible. We can be nimble, we can adapt. We don't come in with cookie-cutter solutions. So when we're working with an agency, this is the time of innovation. So we really want to do something different. And when you're working with a firm that has that ability to really hear and be intentional about what you want, we can deliver something great.
That's interesting. Now, a lot of times, I know back when I was CEO in Baltimore, we would work with big primes, and then they would bring in subcontractors. Is that still what's happening in the industry, and is that changing any?
It is still happening a lot, and there's a lot of good benefits about that model. A lot of primes really care about smaller businesses and giving them opportunities. But I think it's shifting. Many agencies now are giving opportunities for small businesses, women-owned businesses, and minority-owned businesses to earn a contract directly. And that gives a whole change to the dynamic. It allows those businesses an opportunity to grow because you can own a project, you can deliver it, you can have that full life cycle, which really helps you to build a business, and it really helps with the equity aspect of our industry.
Thank you.
Well, I think about biometrics going through security, a touchless experience. I think about using the phone like we use it in aviation for transit, booking, boarding pass, all of that on your phone. I think about things like that as we go forward.
Well, right now there's a lot of fantastic technology, but one thing that is lacking is connectivity. So there is a technology that's bringing Formula One race car connectivity to trains and buses.
Data analytics and visualization, because when you're talking about how we can impact customer experience, improve route planning and optimization, which is going to lead directly into equity and access, and then you tie that into the end with mobility as a service.
The new integration of TNCs into the transit world and opening up of guest ride booking APIs from both Lyft and Uber is, to me, the thing that's bringing the most impact, or has the potential to.
The best thing that we can do is the investment in predictive analytics. It offers us the opportunity to use the information that we already generate and provide a better quality service and meet and exceed the public's expectations for the future.
I would say our Transit Watch app. When people see something, they can say something digitally. We can take that information and then better deploy resources to provide for a more comfortable transit experience.
As a step in the right direction toward increasing equity and access to transit, digitization of cash is top of mind for me.
I spoke at the conference on a panel along with the chief innovation officers from Miami, Seattle, and Dallas, addressing the role of on-demand microtransit in putting passengers first. Great to be with you. Thank you, Stuart. And excited to be on a panel with some of America's leading chief innovation officers. And I get to talk to the top transit leaders around the world, and they tell me every week all the hot things that are happening. Here's what I pulled together for you today. Here's some of the top trends happening. Number one is the implementing of the new Transportation Reauthorization Act and Infrastructure Bill. And transit agencies are using the funds that came through this bipartisan act to really improve their services. So that's really one of the hottest trends happening. Number 2 is zero-emission buses, whether it's electric, hydrogen, CNG, whatever it is. That is one of the hottest trends happening right now. Most transit agencies are piloting or already improving their fleet size when it comes to this. A lot of it's being driven by legislation or by policy coming from the funders and the policymakers in the various jurisdictions. Number 3 is equity and inclusion in public transportation. Transit agencies took a moment to reflect on their raison d'etre. What's our reason to exist? And many of them, I think, have decided that we're not just about getting people from A to B during the commuter hours. Many transit agencies have now figured out that they want to do something even more integral to their communities. They want to improve the environment by moving to zero-emission buses. They want to actually add equity and inclusion not only in their agencies, but also to their cities. Number 4 is recruiting drivers and mechanics. The Great Resignation hit public transit agencies just like it did business. And lastly, getting passengers back onto transit through microtransit, through integrated transportation networks, making them all flow together. It's a hot trend that's happening around the world right now. And then rebooting the bus networks. We're doing Houston Redux 2. Everybody's redoing their routes. APTA did a survey a year or so ago, and they asked transit agencies, rank your KPIs for us. How do you measure your own success? For the first time in a generation, ridership was no longer number 1. Now number 1 was customer satisfaction. People realize if you build it, they will come. Thank you. Have a good one.
Steve Young is one of the nation's top transit tech leaders and the Vice President of Technology and Innovation at Via Metropolitan Transit in San Antonio, Texas. I asked him about their new AI-powered customer service online robot named Ava.
So Steve, tell me about Ava.
So at Via, we knew we wanted to serve our customers better, give them real-time access to customer service, especially at times when they didn't normally have access to an agent. Because our call centers do close and sometimes they get very busy. And so one of the things we thought of is, could we automate a lot of the run-of-the-mill questions that we have to provide for our customers? Not that there's anything wrong with that, but since they're frequent questions, we knew what they were.
Sure.
And so we looked into essentially chatbot technologies and went about creating a virtual assistant called Ava for automated virtual assistant. And that bot knows hundreds of questions that our customers can ask. And they can now do that on our website and our mobile app. And they can chat in English and Spanish. Right now, I think we're running at almost over 7,000 conversations each month. So it's a real, and that's been growing. Like not that long ago, it was like 4,000, right? So more and more folks are using it. So we know there's some value in it. And we keep adding more to that. We were added next bus information. We just added trip planning in. So we got a great all-women team that has developed this chatbot, which is really fantastic.
And so how does it actually work? So if I'm a passenger and I want to ask a question like, will the bus be by where I live at 4:30? Do I call it or do I say Siri or what?
Yeah. So right now on our website, there's if you go to viainfo.net on the lower right-hand corner, there it says questions or preguntas, and you can go in there, click, and just start typing away.
Okay.
Same thing in our mobile app, right? So in Via Go Mobile Plus has that. We are actually in development right now working on voice. So you asked that question, we're actually want to take that same technology and bring it to the telephone. And that would allow us to, for instance, drop it into the call center. Hey, there's a long hold time right now. It's 10 minutes to talk to an agent. Would you like to talk to Ava, our virtual assistant? We could then move the customer into that channel.
Is it considered artificial intelligence?
Yeah, so it's backed by IBM Watson. So that's kind of the technology that we're built on. There's lots of technologies out there like that. But we've had a really good luck and a good partnership working with them. It was actually co-developed between IBM and us.
Gary, I think you're the happiest man here at the conference. What just happened?
I am. Well, the FTA just announced the results of the last round of bus and bus facilities grant applications in APTA and Memphis. Did very, very well. We're very excited about our grant awards for the coming year.
And what are you going to do with the money? You're getting tens and tens and tens of millions of dollars. Where's the champagne?
Where is the champagne? we were successful with 2 different grant applications, one for $54 million, which will help us to replace an aging bus maintenance facility. The other $23 million will provide new electric buses for a new north-south BRT project.
That's awesome. Electric buses are the hot trend right now, or, it's not just electric, it's hydrogen too, and other types of fuels that are zero emission. But you've got an interesting idea that I haven't heard anybody else talk about. Tell me about what you're planning to do to make sure you end up with the right buses.
Well, we've engaged all of the various different manufacturers. We've seen their products. We've gone out to other transit properties to see them in action. We've had some test models come in. But what we're going to do in order to ensure that we make the right selection and get the right vehicle for the job that we want done is we're going to invite all of the interested parties to pre-qualify their buses. So we want them to come into Memphis. We will put them on a test course for a period of time. They'll provide the drivers. We'll load them up as if they're loaded with people. Then the vendors will only be allowed to certify what they're actually able to attain in the environment of Memphis. So when I say certify, I'm talking about the range the buses can go in and how they might operate and different things of that nature. So the idea is to pre-qualify the buses so that we make the appropriate decisions so that we don't end up with a bus that we need to be able to operate 20 hours a day but can only operate 6. So in talking with some of the vendors, many of them are excited about that process. A couple of them are a little nervous by that process, but nonetheless, we have to look out for the best interest of our community. And my team has done a great job at pulling this together, and we're going to go down that path.
That's awesome. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
As the nation recovers from the pandemic, public transportation is leading the way with new technologies like autonomous vehicles, on-demand microtransit, new apps and tools that put customer service information right in the hands of our riders and allow them to pay for services more seamlessly. Zero-emission buses, predictive analytics, and data visualization. It's a great time to be in public transit as technology improves safety and service for all.